I fucking loved this movie. I'm going to watch it again. And I would absolutely recommend it. It's beautifully shot. It's beautifully set. Like, it looks like it's what? So it's 18. It starts off 1814 Paris. You jump forward 16 years. Wonderfully acted. They're not trying to do the accents as well. And it's a romance. It's a romp. It's a
I think nobody would have watched it if everybody was doing a French accent.
oh,
The people who are not French would be like, "What is going on here?" And the people who are French would be like,
what the fuck is
They-
this
"Suck
shit?
the fuck out of here!"
And they would still rate it 100%.
Yeah. And guess
Suck
what?
my
I wouldn't blame the French in the slightest for feeling that way. Not in the
Yeah.
slightest.
Well, what's the point in speaking English in a French accent?
Fair.
Exactly. Unless you have like one French.
Unless you're
character or
Robin
something.
Hood and you're
I don't
speaking like a fucking American throughout the entire movie.
know. He hates Kevin Costner. Dude, I
He's
think that's the
terrible.
new regular thing with Quentin is he goes on
Mel
a Kevin
Gibson's
Costner
out.
bit.
Kevin Costner is in, dude. Let's give him a little hate.
Oh,
James
sorry.
Corden
Anyway,
is
Craig,
fat.
continue, please.
Do you know what? I'm going to give this a solid 8.5. I could happily give it more, but solid 8.5. And I am going to watch this again.
I'm gonna give this movie a 9, dude. This movie was fucking lit. I was talking a little bit off podcast, but this movie reminded me quite a bit of The Prestige. I absolutely love this movie. I thought that the cast was phenomenal. Michael Wincott and Richard Harris, specifically in this movie, were fucking gold. Michael Wincott, I think, is born to play a villain. Whatever movie he's in, but talk about a sick, sadistic fuck in this movie. He says, "Hi, on your birthday, I'm going to come in and just whip you a little bit. I know you're innocent. That's why you're here. But I'm going to come in and I'm going to fucking put a million lashes on you every single year. That way you just got a little something to look forward to." He's a sick fucking puppy, dude. This movie was beautifully shot. I thought that the story was great. I would love to actually read the book one day. I thought the middle of this movie was its strongest point by far. But as you could tell by my rating, I think the beginning, the middle, and the end were all fantastic. The movie did feel a little long for my liking. I felt like there were maybe some things that they could have cut out, which sounds crazy probably if you're someone who has read the novel. And then coming into this, you're probably thinking that, oh my God, they could have added so much more. For myself, it seems like certain scenes were a little bit dragged on, but nothing to the point where it was too distracting. Richard Harris in this movie, fucking gold, man. The second I heard his voice, I was born in 98, so I grew up with the Harry Potter films. Second I heard his voice, it was like my inner child was screaming, "Oh my God, Dumbledore," from the first two movies. And to me, it's just an instant soft spot. This movie was great. The action was fantastic. I thought the choreography and the fight scenes, I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about that later on, but is 10 times better than what we get nowadays. Not a lot of movies are crafted with such care that it seems like this movie was done with. Great movie overall. Had a great time. I will definitely be watching this again and again and again throughout the years.
It's in my top 10 movies of all time, so this is Meltzer for me. I've become, ever since I first came across this movie, I've been obsessed with it. And it's one of my favorite movies of all time. And I just fucking love the story. I like this story better than the book, actually, which might be blasphemy, but I don't care. I just love every single character. Some of the cast in this is highly underrated as well. Jim Caviezel, Guy Pearce,
Jim Caviezel's fucking
James
legendary.
Frayne. I think James Frayne is very talented as well. Who plays Villefort. Of course, you got Richard Harris. And you guys know how I feel about Michael Wincott. I think he is the most underrated actor that could possibly be out there.
That's so fair.
Henry Cavill, young Henry Cavill. This is basically the movie where he got his beak wet. Yeah, the cast and the characters are just incredible. I love the fucking revenge story. This guy is betrayed by his best friend, and sends him to basically rot in a prison for the rest of his life.
Sends him to hell.
He comes back not only to get revenge, but he befriends a person who actually leads him to where this treasure is, and he uses it to get his revenge. And then there's all this there's a morality play going on with whether this is ethical and a moral thing to do, and he's wrestling with this as he's throughout the second half of the movie constantly, and it's basically like it's a test to see if he's going to remain a good person or not, or go off the deep end. Even though because of what happened to him as an audience member, I feel like you could make you're rooting for him because you're like, yeah, it's justified for a lot of the things he's doing, but then it's testing you as well as an audience member.
100%.
So I fucking think this movie is amazing, and I have always loved this movie. I don't know if I would put it top 5, but it's definitely top 10. And it's one of those movies that it's I think is extremely underappreciated and not mentioned enough when it comes to good movies from the 2000s. But I could be wrong because I know there's
No, I've never heard of this movie before you guys. So that's saying something because I love my early 2000s movies, dude. And I have never heard of this
of the
film.
book.
It definitely didn't get the biggest audience. I mean, 70 million sounds like a big ass number, but the fact that I've never heard of this film is kind of beyond me.